Welcome everyone to the HR Dive podcast. As we step into a new year, we step out of a comfort zone. And sometimes it could be hard to step out of the comfort zone, especially for HR people. We have a lot of stereotypes how HR people should be, that they should be always right, nice, just fluent. And sometimes HR people they cannot go out of the comfort zone. So today we have with us Solveiga Jaskunas. She has stepped out of comfort zones many times. So yeah, very glad to see you. And I told you when I come across your LinkedIn profile, I was like, oh my God, this person is so warm. I instantly felt this warmth. But at the same time, I saw that this is very powerful message behind behind that warm feeling. So she is also an international keynote speaker, connector, mentor, career coach, HR consultant, and most importantly, immigrant voice in HR with a mission to make the journey easier for others than it was for her. So Solveiga, I am really happy to have you with us.
Oh, thank you, Milden. What an introduction. It's really beautiful. And yes, it's honor for me to be here.
Nice. Let's dive into the questions. I am really excited. I want to start by going back a little bit. Could you take us back to a moment when you felt underestimated because of your language, culture, or background?
Probably all of them. And it was quite a few moments, but probably the biggest one was when I came to the States. I had a degree in industrial psychology from West University in Lithuania. I spoke English and I thought it's going to be difficult. But what I didn't expect is that first I didn't get a single phone call, even for the jobs that didn't require a degree in HR. And when I start getting my second master degree in human resources, I start getting phone calls and interviews. But that experience was almost harder than not getting interviews because when your interviews ends after first question or your voicemail never get returned, or you see that people are not interested in you as soon as you start speaking, is definitely difficult experience because at that point I didn't know how to compete. But I also realized that I even my English is not as good. I can do better job than some other people who who end those interviews and they don't even follow the standards of interviewing and are not interested in getting to know more person. And I've realized that yeah, my confidence will get completely crushed if I continue paying attention to other side. And I decided that I just want to get better in the interviews. And I was starting comparing myself to my previous self. So I would go to an interview and I would think, when I come back home, I would think, how I can answer these questions better next time. And then you start seeing a progress and you start paying attention what other people think. You start enjoying interviews, and it helped me not only to get better in the interviews myself, but it helped me to help others better because when I start interviewing other candidates, I saw that many of them were making the same mistakes as I did it. So probably that answers the question. And actually, one more thing, maybe. I think, what a lot of people struggle, is not only that they face, that rejections from others, but suddenly you almost start developing that imposter syndrome yourself. And I remember very well this one quote or one principal and the leader of a school told me, Solveiga, if somebody is not comfortable with your English, it's not about your English, but about other people' ability or inability to work with other people different than them. And that made me realize that actually it's true because a lot of people who who didn't hire me, they were not comfortable with my English, but other people were comfortable. And it was not only reflection of me, but about their comfort zone as well.
Yes, that's beautifully said because, yeah, I agree. And you mentioned imposter syndrome. This is very important topic that I want to touch also because for those who don't know what is imposter syndrome, it's a psychological pattern where the high achievers, especially high achievers, doubt their skills despite the external evidence of their competence. So, for example, although I am good specialist, but I doubt myself. I think maybe this is success, maybe this is something, this kind of model, thinking model. So I want to ask about this kind of, imposter syndrome in your career. Maybe you could also take us to a moment, a situation when was this imposter syndrome very loud in your career, in your head, and what exactly it sounded like.
So yeah, actually now I see imposter syndrome for a long time. It was like almost like my enemy. Now it became almost my friend because every time I feel, not comfortable, I know that this is the area I need to get comfortable and learn from that experience. And yes, the moment that was the loudest actually was recent. It was a few years ago because at that point I thought I felt comfortable. I felt confident, and yet I got invited to my first podcast, and then I didn't even wanted to do it, but when I saw the recording, I just and it was public, and they asked me to share my network. This is where like I really just thought this is the worst thing for me ever to do it. And yes, because I saw this recording and I saw how uncomfortable I was, unconfident, how many mistakes I made, how fast and unclear I spoke. And I was just starting my own consultancy, and then suddenly I have to share a video that is basically it's the worst performance ever, where I thought that if I would share it, I would not lose only clients, not gain any clients, but I truly thought this is how I'm going to damage my career because sharing something that you don't like yourself is really difficult. And especially working in HR, I knew that sometimes resumes get rejected for a single mistake, and then I don't know. I think sometimes when you start speaking in front of a camera, automatically your English gets worse, and then it was really not good. And but what happened, it actually led me where I am today because I started getting a lot of messages from other immigrants. I didn't get any clients. Yeah, nobody called me and say, Solveiga, we went to work with you. I didn't get after that video. But I started getting messages from other immigrants. They say it was so courageous, was brave. Please continue those conversations. And I realized, how I saw myself was different than other people saw me, where I saw how confident I was. Other people saw that I was courageous, where I wanted to do a better job. Other people just wanted to see me, and they didn't expect me to see different. And yes, that led me where I am today, starting speaking about immigrant experiences. I stutter sometimes, and people don't notice that in regular conversations, but in the situations where, like on the stage or where, like one feels scared, sometimes there are times that I have in difficult, pronouncing a word. So coming on the stage for me was, always very uncomfortable, and now actually it doesn't stop me. And I yeah, like even in the recent three disrupt HR events I done, it was challenging because you have to deliver a presentation in 5 minutes of 20 slides. In all those events, I was the only immigrant. And yes, I probably was the least comfortable, the only one of accent, and the only one, yeah, who suddenly stumbles over the words. but it almost helps me because I talk about it. I talk about what it's like to have a fear and to overcome. I've talked about misinformation, and I brought about growing up in the Soviet regime, that people who don't have that experience cannot talk about it. So I in some ways it goes well with my message, and yes, it makes me different. Mhm.
Nice. And to wrap up, because it's
Mhm,
our very
yeah.
short dive, so
Yes.
yeah. But if you could speak to your younger self, when was when you were doubting yourself, when you were not that confident to actually speak to the in crowds and all those things, and to that quieter, child, not child, maybe like professional, young professional, what would you tell her now?
I will tell, believe in yourself when nobody believes in you. And let your fear be your best friend. Let you guide you through discomfort and teach you. I also will say, find the support and help you needed, and don't be afraid to ask for help. And probably I'll share a few advice that I got from my mentors. One of them will be like, if not you, who will? If you think that this opportunity is not for you, this is exactly is why for you. And being who you are is more important than being perfect.
Yes, I agree. This is very nice. And thank you so much for being with us in this short dive. And yeah, for anyone that is listening, this is your reminder to step out of the comfort zone, to start maybe doing something that is not that simple, not that easy, in order to grow and to actually, speak up if it's an important topic for you. So just speak up about that, whether it's immigrants, whether it's language, whether it's like any topic in your life that you are actually feel that you are have this fear. It's a signal that you actually need to go there, because if there's a fear, it means that there's an opportunity too. So thank you very much, everyone, and Solveiga, and we will see you in the next dive.